In the beginning, it is shown that in the Aztec calendar, there are 5 days that do not belong to the conventional months, and it was believed that on such days, the dead returned to the earth as beings of darkness. In the present, in an area on the border of the United States and Mexico, a vehicle approaches the limit. Men crossing illegally through the area are waiting for another car with some other immigrant passengers. One of them gets out and hands over a money pouch, the way to pay for the transportation of Mexican families to the United States, to a young man who is with his pregnant sister, helping her to move to another country to improve their living conditions. Among the passengers is a little boy. The smuggler asks the child to assist in the crossing, fearing there may be hidden watchers on the other side. The boy obeys the man and enters the crossing tunnel. The place is dark, and even scared, the boy goes in. The group waits for a moment for the boy to return, until he comes out on the other side and signals that everything is okay. When the man asks them to start the crossing, the woman alerts her brother about pains in her uterus, but the desire to cross is greater. When one of the armed crossers enters the tunnel, the people feel that something is wrong since he does not come through. The suspense of the delay quickly ends when gunshots are heard and flashes seen from inside. Everyone is shocked, not knowing what happened, until the man returns gravely wounded and soon falls dead in front of them. A strange noise echoes outside, and startled, everyone begins to run and enter their vehicles. Unfortunately, some immigrants and a crosser are left behind. The next morning, we see the young Nicole on her morning run, who lives in a small town in Texas near the border, where there are often cases of illegal crossings. She lives alone with her father since her mother has passed away, and to distract herself, she often runs near the border lines and always observes the sign that says if she witnesses anything suspicious, to inform the authorities immediately. Meanwhile, the young Caitlin is lying down watching horror movies until something knocks on her window. It is Nicole, her friend, who stopped by to see her. She says she wanted to go to San Diego to study since the place has running programs she would love to participate in, and her uncle Chris would help with the move. Caitlin wishes her well, and after that, Nicole returns home. The scene changes, and we meet 2 men, one named Victor, and the other is Charlie, Nicole's father. She arrives, and her father asks her to go feed the animals. When she arrives at the chicken coop, she notices animal parts and bloodstains. She goes to the barn and finds something. She, her father, and Victor go to check and find objects belonging to the illegals. It is already the 3rd case in a year, but they have not reported it to the authorities. Nicole looks in the backpack and finds a totem. The guys look at it, and Victor finds it very strange, but Charlie doesn't care, thinking the people who left it there still live in the past. Later, during his radio show, Victor shares that he is feeling negative energy, all because of the encounter with the wooden doll. He asked a friend who studies relics, and he claimed the totem was a possible Aztec demon. He contacts his friend, and Nicole listens to the broadcast holding the totem. The scholar talks on the program that the Aztecs believed that when a woman died during childbirth, she transformed into a demonic being and returned to the earth at a certain time of year to claim what was hers. Victor states that it was an immigrant who brought it to Nicole's home, and when asked why the doll was brought with them, the scholar says the Aztecs also believed that the evil being only hunted in certain places. Charlie goes to his daughter and scolds her for not picking up the mail, but then says he will go get it himself and that he will prepare dinner. Receiving a phone call, Nicole answers and speaks gently with Uncle Chris so her father does not hear, since the move she desires her father may not approve of. The uncle says they will need some documents, one of them signed by Nicole's father. She becomes fearful since she had not informed her father about the plans and had not told her uncle about not informing her father, but she says there will be no problems. He says he sent the papers by mail to be signed and that he needs them back as soon as possible. When Nicole tries to grab the mail before her father, she finds him in the living room with a face showing displeasure because he discovered his daughter's plan to go to another school without his consent. The scene changes, and we see the brothers from the beginning who are fleeing from patrollers in the area. They take shelter in a ruined and abandoned place. When the young man realizes they will be found, he tells the woman that he will lure the soldiers away. The young man then runs and attracts the attention of the patrollers. The woman is worried but hears a gunshot, and possibly her brother will not return. Back at Nicole's house, she apologizes to her father, who believes her uncle wants to take the young woman from him since the death of her mother. but she says she only asked the uncle for help to get into school, compete, and thus secure a scholarship. She cries, realizing that her father does not support her growth, and being drunk, he diminishes his daughter's growth potential. That night, Nicole takes a bath and hears the door open but does not care. Suddenly, she hears something inside the house and leaves the bathroom to check. Fearing an intruder, she grabs her father's weapon and goes to the kitchen, holding up the young man who was stealing supplies. She threatens to shoot the guy until he explains his situation, but something distracts her, and the young man escapes. When her father arrives with Victor, she says someone was breaking into their residence. Then the two men go after the intruder. Victor and his friend reach a part of the border that shows a failure in the fence's wire, through which the illegal immigrant possibly passed. The family's dog goes by, and not wanting to lose the animal, Charlie follows it. The dog leads them to two fallen men, but Charlie finds them dismembered, something that seems to have been done by a beast. Minutes later, the men call the police, but the military does not believe Charlie, who is a bit drunk. Victor then explains what happened and talks about the intruder. Nicole approaches them and tells that the young man was very scared, which is why he fled quickly. The police show that they believe what they are saying, since 2 days ago, they found 2 more bodies in the same situation described, so they ask the family to stay away from the border. The next morning, Nicole is woken by her father, who says he is going to the big city to buy surveillance cameras and asks his daughter to stay inside the house. Minutes later, her friend Caitlin comes to stay with her, and they talk about last night. Meanwhile, Nicole's dog scratches the bedroom door, wanting to go out. When the young women hear something outside the house, they open the door and the animal goes ahead. They follow him to a container, and inside they find the young man named Rahui, who is injured. While Nicole tries to help the immigrant, Caitlin says she will not participate in the action and leaves. Minutes later, we see that the young woman helped the young man and asks him to seek medical help, but the man says he needs to help his sister because she is on the other side and he needs to bring her back quickly because she is pregnant. When Nicole questions what happened last night, the young man tells that there is a legend in his country that says women who die in childbirth return as demons to steal babies from other mothers. Hearing this, Nicole grabs the Aztec doll totem and shows it to Rahui. He is surprised and speaks about what he knows from the stories. Rahui tells that the doll represents a beautiful woman who during the Aztec period was sacrificed by the king of the civilization, and present-day legends claim that she returned from the shadows and hunts on the border. Night falls, and after saying goodbye to Nicole, Rahui says he will leave, but Charlie arrives and forces the young man to hide in the room. When the father enters, he notices that the dog is barking at the door of his daughter's room and goes to check. The man does not find the young man inside. To Nicole's relief, only the open window, showing us that the young man escaped earlier. Later, while his father sleeps, Nicole goes searching for her new friend. She finds him and notices that his wound has opened again and he is unable to find his sister. Seeing this, Nicole says she will go after Rahui's sister, but needs him to trust her to help her first. Meanwhile, Rahui's sister, Gabriella, is experiencing labor pains when suddenly she hears whispers and noises coming from the darkness. In another location, the smuggler is with a couple, stating that they will soon find another route across the border. Suddenly, a woman emerges from the darkness. Everyone is surprised, and when the man asks who the woman is, she shows claws on her hands and then attacks and kills them all. Nicole takes Rahui to Victor's house, who applies bandages to the young man's wound. After that, he tells what happened the night he left his sister behind. The soldiers were chasing him until an old woman with a dark appearance suddenly appeared and attacked them, but the military's bullets did not kill the creature. Then, hearing this, Victor decides to help the two, but says he needs to go to his friend Carlos, the scholar. As he leaves, Nicole and Rahui cross the border and go to meet Gabriella. Minutes later, Victor arrives at Carlos's house to discuss everything about the totem that was found. The man recounts the days of the Aztec calendar, where the ancients claimed that only on those nameless calendar days the creature named Coaxoc returned. Victor asks how to combat such a monstrosity on these 5 days if he were to encounter it. Carlos says there is no way to kill something that is already dead. All you can do is run for your life. Back with the duo, they reach the ruins, but before, Rahui stumbles and needs to rest. Nicole decides to go alone, and enter the ruins to find Gabriella. She quickly finds what seems to be who she was looking for and realizes that the woman is disturbed and crying. Suddenly, she stops crying and becomes paralyzed. When Nicole calls her, she discovers that it is not Gabriella, as the woman's face is deformed. Scared, she runs back and reaches Rahui, telling him to run because the creature is alive in the place. They move away from there, but stop running since Rahui is unable to continue. Suddenly, the creature appears and forces them to run for dear life. The two separate, and further on, Nicole notices a flickering flashlight inside a dark tunnel. Curiously, she enters to see who it is, and happily discovers that it is Gabriella, already holding her baby. Nicole silently calls her to leave, but the phone rings. She hangs up, fearing it might be heard by the creature. However, the creature K1LLS appears at the end of the tunnel, looking for its victims. Nicole and Gabriella hide from the macabre old woman, but knowing that the demonic being would find them, Nicole draws the revived one's attention. Unfortunately, without realizing the obstacle ahead, Nicole falls and loses consciousness. Soon she regains consciousness and sees that she is in a closed place with high walls, near a deep mine entrance. Nicole soon discovers she is surrounded by the creature with the deformed face. However, Rahui arrives with his sister, and upon hearing the baby cry, K1LLS looks up, giving Nicole a moment to push her into the well. Moments later, Charlie is already awake watching, until the cameras trigger the motion sensor. He grabs his gun, but realizes it is his daughter with two people. They stay in the room for a brief moment, waiting for any action from Charlie. He soon calls his daughter and discovers they are fleeing from an Aztec demonic being that aims to kidnap Gabriella's child. Charlie does not believe what his daughter says, but Nicole tells him she saw the being with her own eyes, and adds that this evil is what dismembered the found people. At this moment, Charlie remembers the day he lost his brother. He found him beyond the borderline, in the same situation, and they never discovered the culprit. Meanwhile, Victor returns to Nicole's house and tries to call her until he sees something passing through the road and entering the tall grass field. He stops the vehicle to check what he saw and ends up hearing strange noises and suddenly comes face to face with the Aztec demon. Back at Nicole's house, her father apologizes and hands her the signed document so that his daughter can grow in her studies and be better than he is. Suddenly, Caitlin enters the house and tells her friend she will go with Nicole to San Diego, and after the meeting, she leaves. While waiting in the living room, Charlie receives another signal from the cameras and this time observes that Caitlin is lying next to her car. Fearing for his daughter's life, he takes her in with the others into a room and locks them in there, as he has decided to confront the evil himself. He goes to the kitchen, and upon hearing knocks and noises, he shoots at whatever is surrounding the house. After that, he leaves the house to check if he hit something. Fearing for her father's life, Nicole hides the family of immigrants inside a compartment below the floor that will take them out of the house and decides to help her father. Meanwhile, Charlie slowly searches for any movement outside his residence, ready to shoot whatever emerges from the darkness. Not finding her father inside the house, his daughter goes out to search for him, but hears another shot when her father is surprised by the creature that wounds him in the stomach with its claws. When Nicole comes out, she finds her father injured. He tells his daughter to flee the place with the others because he will not be able to go. Back in the basement of the house, the brother sees that the creature is there with them and tells his sister to hurry to get out of there. They leave the place and are pursued by the creature outside the house, but fortunately, Nicole acts quickly and runs over the demon. The group flees the area, but encounters a problem with the car moments later. The trio questions what can be done while leaving the baby sleeping inside the vehicle, when the creature's claws emerge through the car window. After discussing what needs to be done, Gabriella returns to see her child, but cannot find him. Desperately, she runs in search of her child and finds him being taken into darkness by the creature K1LLS. She reaches it and fights the evil being to take back what is hers, but ends up being mortally wounded by the aberration's claw. Fortunately, Nicole and Rahui arrive and help recover the baby. Knowing that babies are what the creature desires, Nicole points a blade at the demon's wish, causing it to retreat. She asks Rahui to meet her at Victor's house and runs away with the baby in her arms, knowing that the creature would follow her. Minutes later, she arrives at the residence, but cannot find her friend. Meanwhile, Rahui fixes the vehicle. After a moment inside the house, Nicole goes out looking for Victor, but ends up being found by the creature Coaxoch, eager to have what is not hers. Nicole runs to escape the Aztec demon's claws and returns to the area close to the border. Seeing that the being is pursuing her, she notices a high hill ahead and immediately climbs it. Even injured, she does not give up, as she has something in mind, knowing that such evil is only extinguished on the 5th day of the legend. The day rises until finally, the young woman reaches the top. However, the evil being approaches the young woman and takes what is wrapped in the cloths. When suddenly the creature hears a sound, but it is not a baby, it is a lamb. At that moment, the creature realizes it has been deceived, as Nicole managed to substitute the baby inside the house. Meanwhile, the young Rahui, who had fixed the car, arrives at Victor's house, but does not find his friend Nicole. However, to his surprise, he finds his nephew safe and sound. On the mountain, furiously, the creature turns to Nicole and tries to attack her, but it is at that moment that the rays of the sun on the 5th day of the Aztec calendar emerge and completely dissolve the evil. Finally, Nicole finds herself safe, even remembering the loss of her father, who sacrificed himself to give his daughter a chance. She is happy to have helped save an innocent life. Minutes later, she returns to the house and finds Rahui and the baby safe.